Ladies and gentlemen, the Luxembourg High Council for Sustainable Development, as an advisory body for the government and as a think tank in the field of sustainability, has for some time been dealing with the topic of nutrition and its connections with the well-being of the population, with the ecological footprint of a society, and with the principles of sustainable, resilient economy. Thus also a sustainable and resilient agriculture. The global demand for food will continue to increase in the future. By 2050, 2 billion more people on Earth will need to be fed. But is this feasible without completely exceeding the planet's limits? The environmental impact of our food system is already enormous and should not be underestimated. Our food system has many problems, such as malnutrition, but also overweight, obesity, or poor nutrition. The health problems of a bad or wrong diet are many. And the second problem of the food system is the ecological footprint. And also in Luxembourg, the food system contributes significantly to the ecological footprint. This was found in a study made by the High Council for Sustainable Development in 2020 in cooperation with the IBLA. In addition, the current system encourages monoculture. 75% of our total food is made up of 12 plant species and 5 animal species, including cows, pigs, and chickens. And the third problem is that 30% of the food production is actually thrown away. Another problem concerns natural resources. Water is under stress, both in terms of availability, but also pollution. Our soils are degraded, and the biodiversity in the soils is decreasing. We have massive insect mortality, and the main cause for the death of insects, such as butterflies and bees, is industrial agriculture, which is poisonous, and herbicides such as glyphosate or over-fertilization and the low maintenance and monotonous agricultural landscapes. And then climate exchange exacerbates all these problems, as well as animal rights, ethical issues, etc. Agriculture has become increasingly linear in the last decades and produces more and more waste. The technologization and industrialization of agriculture through many machines, robots, pesticides, fertilizers, etc., contributes to the fact that agriculture and food has partially or practically become an industrial sector with similar negative effects as other heavy industries. The European From Farm to Fork strategy will be presented to us in the next few minutes. And I would like to say right away that I think the name chosen in the strategy is at best incomplete or even unfortunate to describe a sustainable and resilient system. Therefore, I would like to give the impulse to rename this strategy From Farm to Fork and Back, because From Farm to Fork still strongly suggests a linear way of thinking. Cycles are the basis of a natural system, and the economy should also be based on industrial cycles in the future, including agriculture. Meanwhile, European consumers have become increasingly demanding about the quality of the food they eat. And I mean, so they should. They want healthier food and expect more transparency and traceability. In this respect, better labeling of both the health and the environmental impacts of food will play an important role in promoting more informed customer choice. And the High Council of Sustainable Development has recently engaged in this debate by proposing concrete proposals for transparent labeling of post-food. A radical transformation of our food system is necessary to make our society more sustainable and resilient. Moreover, the strong and complex social, economic, and environmental implications should not be overlooked. The High Council of Sustainable Development proposed a few weeks ago 7 overreaching principles of a sustainable, resilient, and circular economy. These principles can and should be rapidly applied to agriculture and our food system. I would like to present this briefly. First, it's about creating values and preserving values. Agriculture must be properly rewarded for the positive contribution it can make to climate change mitigation and biodiversity conservation. A conservation system is and should be systemic and holistic. A new cross-cutting strategy in agriculture should break down silos by taking a holistic, interdisciplinary and collaborative approach. And then, thirdly, waste must be abolished as a concept. It has to be built on 2 cycles, and the biological cycle and the technological cycle have to comprise these 2 cycles. Health and well-being are integral parts of the cycle, and agriculture. The creation of positive impacts on people and nature is favored. The reduction of negative impacts alone is not sufficient for sustainable development. Humans are part of the life cycle and depend on ecosystem services for their survival and well-being. The next point is that circulation and agriculture are regenerative by nature. They maintain and enhance ecosystem services and promote biodiversity. Then, circulation and agriculture promote the diversity of solutions in all technical, economic, social, cultural, and environmental aspects. Promoting biodiversity is an important part of the system. And the last point is that local and solidarity-based solutions, cooperative communities, and local value chains are also promoted. As you can see, the 7 principles of the High Council of Sustainable Development can be directly applied to the food system. Finally, I would like to say a few words about the ecological footprint and its relation to agriculture. I want to focus less on the negative footprint and more on the extremely important role of agriculture in significantly improving the biocapacity of a given territory. Biological capacity, also called biocapacity, is the ability of the ecosystem to promote biologically beneficial material and absorb human-produced waste under current conditions. The potential of improving biocapacity is generally underestimated and certainly not favored or rewarded. A resilient and sustainable food system should not only reduce the ecological footprint of our food, but at the same time make a positive contribution to climate protection. Soil is, for instance, a very efficient carbon sink, but at the same time, it should also make a positive contribution to biodiversity and promote a healthier diet. A farm-to-fork and back strategy is not only about agriculture, but also about climate, environment, health, digitalization, competitiveness, the conservation of resources, as well as the conservation of local and regional jobs. Our 3 speakers will discuss these 3 topics in detail and professionally in the next hour before there will be enough time for questions. We hope that you, dear listeners, will get a lot of food for thought and that this conference will contribute to positive momentum towards a truly resilient and sustainable food system. Thank you very much for your attention.